Brother, I am firing on all cylinders.
Why is that, Mr. Ames?
Because I am drinking some delicious, robust coffee from none other.
Is it Chimera coffee?
Yes, it is, sir.
My man.
It wasn't, I won't bash any other coffee products, but yes, it was Chimera.
And I see you have an exciting mug there.
This mug is delicious, man. It's plastic with a straw, and it's a cold brew.
Very classy.
Yeah. I keep it classy. That's what I do.
Let me ask you something.
Up. What's up, man?
How do you make your Chimera coffee?
It already comes in prepackaged, already grounded up.
Okay.
So all I do is I put in a little toddy system. If you don't know what that is, look it up. So I put in that cold brew. I let it steep for like maybe 18 hours.
Okay. Damn.
Then it comes out nice and smooth, brother. Freshness.
We call it the pot roast of coffee.
Ooh, boy, we ain't playing around with that one.
Slow and steady.
Yeah, just in case you guys are wondering where you could cop that or purchase that, you could go to
chimeracoffee.com.
Type in the code.
showtheART.
No spaces. All right? No spaces. Leave it at home.
All right, guys.
Save yourself some money.
On another note, check what I'm wearing, Ames.
Dude, it looks fresh to death.
Tell these people what I'm wearing.
He's wearing a T-shirt.
Okay. Underneath it.
Underneath the T-shirt is a rash guard.
What kind of rash guard?
Inverted gear rash guard. Absolutely.
Guys, inverted gear. I can't stress it enough. They make quality products.
Quality.
At affordable prices.
Affordable.
They didn't write that. They didn't tell me to say that. I said that on my own. Those are my own words.
That's his heart.
Verbatim.
Just
if you don't know what
out.
verbatim means,
look it up.
Look it up.
Look everything up.
Go to showtheart.com. Oh,
no. Oh,
bad.
you could go with that too.
Yeah.
But more importantly, you could go to
invertedgear.com. Type in the coupon code showtheart 15. The number 15.
Not the word.
Yeah.
15. All right.
Yeah. Even
Make
though
it's simple.
Exactly. And you know.
Yeah, that looks good, man. I hate to cut you off, but dude, that rash guard is cool.
Go to their website, save some
out.
money,
Get that panda on your
panda.
Ah. What is going on, guys? You're listening to the Show the Art podcast. We're your host. My name is Ames. Alongside with me, my boy Abe. How we feeling, brother?
Good. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Let's get this going because I'm excited. Today we have a special guest, a leg lock extraordinaire.
Sure.
You might say coming off a great run at the EBI 8, I believe. Was it 8? Middleweights? Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
We got my man Josh Hayden on. Josh, how you feeling, man?
Hey, I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Good, man. We're super excited. It's kind of cool because we're talking right before we started this podcast how I'm still kind of fresh to jiu-jitsu, and I was on Facebook maybe right around like when EBI went on.
Okay.
And then I saw your the 80-20, your system. I was like, oh, who is this guy? I was looking him up, and then the day after was the EBI, and I was like, oh shit, how funny is that?
Yeah.
That like when I'm watching all these things, I'm seeing your the ad on
feed
yeah,
on
the
Facebook,
feed
yeah.
on my feed. I just see you, and you killed it. You like your confidence. I was telling Abe, your confidence was super cool. Just seeing you, how just like you looked really calm, like that Fedor Emelianenko kind of feel, right? But yeah, man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you all. I've been watching your show, The Art, for a little bit on Instagram and all social media, so I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thanks, man. We just wanted to get into your training, just go right into it.
Yeah.
You've been training for a while now. You're kind of getting yourself known for the leg locks, for leg lock systems. What is so special about your system?
I'd say that my system's I'm a big advocate of not being in 50-50 positions. I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in 50-50 with somebody, you're both susceptible to the reverse heel hook, which in my opinion, that's a devastating submission. So I don't ever want to give somebody that option because then it's, who gets to it first.
Mm-hmm.
So with my 80-20 leg surfing system, I pretty much we're in a more dominant position, so we're not susceptible to a lot of counter leg locks. We're not in a 50-50 position. So I contribute my success to being able to stay, ahead of my opponents, obviously, in the leg lock game. Not just keeping inside control and stuff like that, because that's a big part of leg locks is inside control with your legs, leg pummeling and stuff.
Okay.
But whenever I'm on offense, and that person's on defense. They don't really have that many offensive opportunities. So I'd say that's more so why my leg locks are more, successful.
Now, to compare it to something else, right? how can you compare someone how can you explain to someone who's not well versed in the leg lock game, right? In the leg lock system, because it's a whole new game. I mean, your legs make up for roughly half your body, and it's a huge part of the game, and it could be very well a big system. How can you explain it and compare it to something else to someone who's not well versed in it?
I'd say that if you can't play the leg lock game, you're not gonna survive. You gotta at least be able to play it, at least be able to dabble in it, get in, get out.
Okay.
I'd say that it's just a lot. It's a lot different because, like you said, it's 50% of your body, I'd say, and there's a lot of things that you might do. If you don't do leg locks, like shrimping, for example, somebody passes your guard, they do a nice little X pass, they get inside control, and shrimping might not be your best bet because, we're taught to, put the foot on the hip and shrimp out and all that jazz, but sometimes that might not be the best thing for you to do. But since you're not aware of the leg lock, you might just get caught, and that might be one of those incidents where you end up getting hurt by a leg lock because you don't have the awareness of the submission. So sometimes a lot of these counter leg locks and like leg lock positions that people enter off of say shrimping is awareness is enough to prevent those leg locks from happening. But if you're not aware, you're probably going to get caught in it.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I was just talking to one of our students the other day, last night actually. He was asking for like a report card of how he's doing, and one of the things I had mentioned to him, because he's a blue belt, and I said, listen, man, one of the main things you need to start focusing on is being in the moment while you're grappling and having that sense of awareness and respecting every little movement that the other guy's doing. That way you'll stifle things way ahead of time. And it's hard to explain to like a beginner or a blue belt, but once they achieve that and they start hitting that purple and brown belt stage, that's when that higher level of understanding comes in. And I guess that's what you're saying, right? Like, respect every little movement, anywhere your legs can be, anywhere your arm can be. Just pulling back a little, just retracting the knee a little can prevent future things from happening, right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, man. Before we move on with this, can we get like a background of where your journey first began and how you came like today and just like really grown in the sport?
Well, I first started training back in 2010.
Okay.
I was fresh out of college. I played college football at Georgetown College. It was a small little NAIA school. I ended up breaking my ankle, got out of that, and my brother had been fighting MMA and doing jiu-jitsu and stuff, and he kept trying to get me in it. I was getting big. I was a football player that wasn't doing anything for a while. Same eating habits and everything. But anyways, I gained weight. Then my brother asked me to get into jiu-jitsu. Of course, there's a whole backstory to that. We used to get in fights and everything, and he actually got me in a reverse heel hook one time. I knew nothing about it, and he was nice. I was kicking him in his face,
with WWE style.
Yeah. But he was my little brother, so I'm just like, whatever. You're not gonna do anything to me.
Yeah.
But now. Being here now, then I reflect on that and I see, I remember those positions. I mean, he could have really messed me up.
Yeah.
So I had to start respecting my brother a little bit more, instead of just looking at my little brother. So I started training, and then it took me about a year. I got into competition. I won for my first 6 or 7 tournaments. I went from the beginner division to intermediate, then I went to advanced, and then all of a sudden I decided to do ADCC trials. My coaches were like, hey, you should try it out. I tried it out in 2013, so that was 3 years. I had been training 3 years, and I did the ADCC trials, won it. Then I went to the championships in Beijing, and then I moved to Florida. Then I won all these tournaments down in Florida. I just took some opportunity. In Kentucky, it's not, the jiu-jitsu scene is not as big as, let's say, like New York's pretty big, and New Jersey, that whole area is big now. Florida's huge, California is huge. Kentucky, it's not that big. So I moving down to Florida. I hit the scene down there, won the Texas tournament and Texas 5 tournament, then the Texas NAIC. I did a couple local tournaments down there. Then I ended up getting the EBI tournament, recently. So, it kind of moved fast for me. I mean, it's been about 6 years now, a little over 6 years.
Why do you think that a lot of the leg lock experts nowadays are getting further along in their, you could say, jiu-jitsu competition careers, like quicker than guys of the past that weren't leg lock experts?
I'd say I'd go back to that awareness stuff, talking about the awareness, because In my opinion, I was doing leg locks from day one, and it was I never went for an armbar at first. I mean, I might have learned about it, but we were a competition school. We were an MMA school as well. So we always went for the finish. And, in my opinion, strategically speaking, if you went to a 32-man bracket, it's better for you to end your matches in 30 seconds as opposed to going the full 10-minute round.
True. Oh, yeah. That's true.
So, I mean, if you have that option to be able to finish the match quick, I feel like that's always the best. I mean, they're always going to be the leg lock guys are going to be fresher in the finals, assuming that they finish fast.
Yes.
So I'd say that contribute to a big part of why a lot of people that are doing leg locks are successful. And a lot of people don't know them. And a lot of people don't even respect them, So they don't even care to learn them, which means like I said, if you can't play legs, you're not going to survive. In order to survive leg locks, you got to be able to play it. Yeah. You can't just run from it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's funny that you say that because in EBI, the guys who've been like ruling EBI, like Eddie Cummins, and let's just talk about Eddie Cummins mainly. Like we'll talk about his last EBI tournament. Every guy that ran from him got submitted sooner. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like guys trying to run away rather than like engage safely and have the sense of awareness, but like engage. Two of his opponents, I forget who they were, they ran from him. They didn't want to get, actually Mike Davila was one of them. He was trying to not engage and he wound up not even getting leg locked. He got his back taken and it was like even worse for him. Yeah. So what you're saying is we need to not necessarily just be willing to attack, but be willing to engage and be willing to play the game, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Because I mean, if you're so worried about leg locks, you're not worried about you're not respecting say Eddie Cummins' arm drag, his back takes, his rear naked choke, because you're so worried about his leg locks, you're knocking yourself down in your other levels, what you're good at. You know what I'm saying?
True. What do you think is the king leg lock submission right now, and what do you think is the king leg lock like position, like the final checkmate position? If you get stuck in this position, it's a wrap.
I definitely say that it's the inside lace, or I think they're calling it the inside ashi or something like that. I call it the knee knot position. I didn't learn the whole system and everything like that Eddie and them will learn. Okay. But definitely the inside, the reverse heel hook with the where you're in the knee knot position. I think some people are calling it the honey hole, but I don't know if that's correct or not. Okay. But we're calling it the knee knot. So it's a reverse heel hook knee bar combination. The only way out is to go the opposite direction and where you would think that you wouldn't go. So, and then if you roll, angle. Yeah, exactly. That's the only way to escape. If not, you're going to roll with the heel hook, then you're going to get knee barred pretty quick.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, there's some positions where like you get into it and it's funny, like you feel like if I turn that way, my knee's going to explode, but that's actually the way out.
Yeah, so right? I mean, especially in that position, it's just like it's pretty much a race to clearing those legs because the guy that's getting leg lock, you have to clear that inside lace. You have to. If you don't, you have no opportunity to get out. But that's the thing is like the window is so slim because the race is clear the legs before he gets to my heel. So.
And what's funny? We clearly saw that at EBI with your match against Gordon Ryan because Gordon is becoming well known for being like a leg lock guy, and he's been submitting a lot of guys, pretty much everybody he's been facing with leg locks if he finishes in regulation. What I saw from your match is exactly what you're telling me now. It was like hyper awareness, defeating things before they got too deep, and then attacking to force the guy to defend. How did that match go, and what did you think you did right and wrong in that match?
My leg lock game is a little different. I've been playing legs for a while, so I don't even care to step into it. I mean, like because the leg lock guys try to get inside control, try to get underneath, and that's the majority of the battle, and that's what people run from, and then they end up getting caught. But like me, I'll step right in it. It's like, okay, go ahead, go for your reap that way, because I got a defense ready. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes what you're getting is not necessarily you're getting it. I'm giving it to you, if that makes any sense. Yeah. But then it comes to I'm aware of the leg lock positions that they're going for and the heel hooks and stuff like that, so I can kind of escape beforehand. But what I look for them exposing themselves because they're too much worried about being on offense, but they don't have enough defense up. Okay. But that match, it was I love that match. For one, it was probably the one of my best matches, my favorite matches that I've ever had. That was a good match. It was defense, offense. I think I did good at defending, but it didn't get the defense doesn't get the championship. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? In that. So, but I think I did good by defending his leg locks, and I don't. He kind of bailed on that after a while, going for those legs, and then I got to his leg one time,
Yeah.
and I almost had to finish, but then Gordon he escaped. He ended up clearing my hip line, so I wasn't able to apply the pressure. So I bailed on the leg lock. I love the match overall. Overall, I loved it all.
Okay.
So what do you think you could do better next time if you fight him?
I think next time, honestly, I'm gonna try to get. I would try to get underneath him and play bottom more. He does. They being the Danaher squad.
Yeah.
And we're teammates now. I don't know if you all heard that.
Oh,
but
nice.
Yeah, we're now.
I heard you're sponsored by Phalanx now. Congratulations on that.
Yes. Thank you.
But when you say teammates, what do you mean exactly?
We're on. So we just. I'm with the Team de Blast now, which is under Henzo and the Danaher squad.
Dope.
So. We're gonna be, forcing some evolution. I think, we've talked about, my defense, and and I think people will be pretty excited to see the evolution of that.
That's crazy.
So it's gonna be pretty excited about
And how
that.
did that unity come together?
Well, we had some things that we dealt with as far as on the business end. I don't know if you all are aware of politics in jiu-jitsu, but there are some.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
But we had to make a business decision, and we ended up going with Tom. I like Tom DeBlas. I liked Gordon. I talked to Gordon and Gary and Eddie personally, off the mats. So I liked, who they are. So I really respect Tom DeBlas.
Okay.
He seems like a real stand-up guy, and there's a lot of opportunity there for everybody. You know what I mean? So that's how that kind of went.
Nice. So does that mean you're gonna be moving over here to the East Coast?
I mean, I'll definitely be traveling that
There
way.
you go.
So,
But
I'll be traveling that way.
pretty much
man.
your school is a Tom DeBlas affiliate now. That's what you're saying.
Yes,
right?
yes,
cool.
yes,
That's
yes,
where
yes.
he's saying.
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Now I wanted to ask you about, and I don't want to make this about Gordon. It's not a Gordon thing. It's a Gordon versus Keenan thing. And one of the things that was really interesting in their match, I don't know if you saw it at Grappling Industries a few months ago, the way Keenan was defending some of the, just the outside ashi and the inside ashi, all those positions. I forget which position in particular, but he was using his flexibility to pull like his heel away from the. It was really interesting. I don't know if you caught that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I seen that, and I mean, in my opinion, that's just flexibility, and that's
Yeah.
pretty much. It's like kind of like when somebody nothing against Keenan or anything like that, but like whenever a lot of people get caught in a heel hook, or they get the outside lace and they hook the heel, they do what I call is the oh shit roll. It's you're just I'm caught, I'm just gonna roll and hopefully I get out. And then usually they get hurt. And him using that flexibility and pulling his foot to him, in my opinion, is just an oh shit position, because he can't be offensive from there. All he is strictly defensive. But he's flexible.
Yeah.
He's real flexible.
And there's nothing wrong with using your flexibility at that level. Once you're at a high level, actually the attributes are what can make the difference. So use that damn flexibility, Keenan.
Yeah, exactly.
But what you're saying is you don't recommend it to kids, right?
Yeah. I can't do that. I wouldn't defend it that way, because I can't put my foot up there in my hip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
True. I wanted to ask you about straight ankle locks, because I'm a big I haven't been touched on the leg lock system for a long time, but lately I have been getting into it. But one thing I always tried to play was knee bar and straight ankle locks.
I love it. I love the straight ankles and the knee bars. That's honestly my straight ankle is probably, in my opinion, my best attack.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, me and Gary kind of came up to me at EBI, and he was like, people don't understand, you got a legit straight ankle. Because with the system, like with the 80-20 leg surfing system, I actually talk about the concept of going from straight ankle to heel hook.
Okay.
So because if you had the straight ankle grip in, and you can attack it, but if they move, if they move the right way, then you can just end up switching off to a heel hook.
Yeah.
But if you do it vice versa, say I go for the heel hook first, you can't go backwards. You can't go back to the straight ankle.
Yes, because they're twisting and rotating.
Exactly.
Out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, I wanted to ask you, what is the key to landing a straight ankle? Because I feel like the straight ankle is one of the submissions, like in the leg lock game, that people can muscle and bite their tongue and withstand it for a second. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe the details that I was taught aren't the best details. So, in your opinion, what do you think people go? Where do people go wrong with the straight ankle? And what do you think I should be doing, or should I just buy your DVD?
Gotcha. I mean, I could tell you, but on the DVD, I talk about that. But yeah, I know what you mean. So what I feel like a lot of people do is for one, they arch straight back, and that's probably not your best bet, because then the foot's gonna bend that way naturally. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like where you're letting your foot like ballerina toe. So to speak.
Like when you sit in closed guard, you're on your knees.
Yeah,
you do that anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So what people do is they do that, they do straight back. But what I do is, and also they don't they're able to use their hips, but not to its full potential. So like what I do with the straight ankle is I get on the straight ankle and then I lay on my shoulder, so the foot's kind of like in a toe hold position, right? But it's with my ribs and my forearm and my tricep and everything. So, but what I also do is I put my foot on their hip. That way I actually have something to drive off of. So I actually be able to exert my hips through the leg as opposed to up into it, and where it's not going. It's going straight to the ankle.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And what foot are you talking about? The inside foot, outside foot? Are you reaping out in, or are you like 50-50ing out almost?
So on the outside, say if my legs are on the outside of their legs and we're almost and their arms on the outside of mine, right? I'm in the dominant position here. Not 50-50. So that's the legs on the inside, but the legs on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay. So that top foot being on their hip, that way I can put my foot on their hip, prevent them from standing, because the defense to the straight ankle would be to stand up. So I put my foot on the hip so I can drive their hips down. So now they're worried about standing up. Now they can't get there. And I have my grip in, I lay flush with the mat. Then I'm going to drive my hips through it. And the thing is, once you feel that, if you ever feel like my straight ankle or somebody doing it that way, it's going to feel totally different. Yeah. Like you feel the raw power of it all, because now it's the hips going through it as opposed to just arching.
So interesting. And what's your arm lace like? Are you grabbing like a guillotine choke? Are you using the forearm bone, or are you wrapping full like a rear naked?
Well, sometimes I do kind of like the Kimura grip in a way.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
so I have their ankle underneath, right, with this hand, my right arm, and it's underneath their calf or their Achilles. And then I grab my wrist and I have my wrist on top. And then what I do is I pinch my elbows, right? And that way I make sure that because the hand that's grabbing their leg has to stay high. Yeah. I think Dean Lister actually covered that detail before. But as long as you keep that hand high, then you're going to eliminate a lot of space. But as soon as it starts dropping when you arch, that's whenever people start relieving the pressure. Sure. I actually call it pressure loading. I load the pressure. I want to maintain that pressure the whole time, but then I'm going to use my hips to apply the pressure.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
That makes perfect sense, actually. Yeah. It's like right before you pick up a bar, like a heavy bar, you want to tug on it first to make sure there's no what would you call it, Ames?
Slack.
Yeah.
The funny, not the funny thing. I keep saying that. The funny thing is, no one's laughing here.
There's no funny thing.
But I trained with what's his name? How did I forget his name? Oh, Nathan Orchard. When I went out to San Diego once, and he taught a class, and he gave me some details on the straight ankle, and he was saying, kind of what you're saying. You want to pinch on the heel, and you thrust the hips forward. And one thing he was saying that stuck with me for a while is, when you're on the ground, when you're laying down, unnaturally to standing, when you arch back, your hips don't go forward because you're laying on the floor. Whereas when you stand up and you arch your shoulders back, your hips naturally go forward like a deadlift. So what you're saying is we got to pull the shoulders back, but you have to actually force your hips forward when you're on the ground, and that's where you're going to generate all the power.
Yes, yeah, especially if you're on your side. If you're on your side, then you can actually arch your hips forward. Then you're going to be able to get a nice bow with your body, but with their foot in your in the straight ankle grip.
So that's really interesting, and I needed that because I want to start finishing more straight ankles.
He's gonna practice that on me later when we roll. So,
man, I'll come up sometime, man.
Hell yeah,
you get some training in. So for sure.
Yeah, because again, I've been training in the gi mostly for the last couple of years. When I originally started jiu-jitsu, I was more, doing MMA. I was a UFC fan, and but lately, I would say the last 6 or 7 years, I've been doing mainly gi. And in the gi tournaments, there's some limitations as far as reaping and heel hooking and just leg locks in general. That's why I think I've been leaning towards the straight and all the straight foot locks and stuff. But thanks, man. I'm
Yes.
gonna use those details for sure.
Yeah, man. I want to get into the training aspect. So, what does a day or even a week look like for you? Like, how many days you're training? Are you doing like just one a day, 2 days, and whatnot?
Well, prior to moving back to Kentucky, I end up getting it. I have a back injury. I don't. I've told
Okay.
some people about it, but so my training is a little different because I do have to work around that injury.
Okay.
But I usually train. I mean, I don't train like 2 to 3 times a day. I mean, I work a full-time job, during the
Okay.
day. So I get off and I teach the kids class, I teach the teens class, and I teach the adults class, and I roll, of course.
Nice.
But I actually consider teaching, part of my training because,
Okay.
I'm analyzing my game, I'm analyzing the techniques. I feel like I'm sharpening my tools, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I train 2 times a day on the weekends. On Saturday and Sunday, I train in the morning and at night. And during the week, I mean, I train 5 days a week.
Okay.
I do gi and no gi as well. So I'm not just a no gi
Yeah.
player.
Dope.
I train. I'm a big fan of the gi. I feel like it tightens up stuff, and the margin for error is very slim. Because of grips and stuff like that. So, but yeah. So Monday through Friday, I train. I train for about 2 hours though. I get about 2 hours of rolling in a night.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on that, the gi versus no gi versus doing both. I always felt that, and this is not a knock to anybody who just does gi or just does no gi, but I always felt like you're missing out on transitions that may not happen if you're wearing the gi and you're training no gi, and vice versa. Like, you're missing out on some movements that will not happen because the gi is on or is not on. Or defenses, or like you said, the tightness is a little different. It's a different experience. I always felt like those little experiences can make a difference when you're going against certain folks, especially at the higher levels. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree with you. But like the gi, I really look at it as a tool for us to train in, to make it suck even worse because you can apply the pressure now no matter, like, a white belt can slow you down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're not on top of your grips and stuff like that. So, but no, I agree with you 100% on that. A lot of positions won't happen, but I think that people should definitely train both because you don't have the grips in no gi, and most gi guys don't even understand that concept of how important the underhook is in no gi.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
yeah, the underhook is the thing in no gi. Like, offense, defense, underhook is king. Like,
that's your grip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Underhook wins championships in no gi. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna say, what are your thoughts on more competitions allowing full leg lock rules in the gi? And do you think it's easier or harder to defend/attack leg locks with the gi on?
On both sides, I feel like it's harder, but obviously, I feel like if you get caught in a heel hook in the gi, you're not getting out because if the guy that's attacking, if his lace is tight, you got all this material, all this friction, you're probably not going to get out. Your defense is going to start way before, way before you get deep in that position. But in defending too, you got a lot more grips. I mean, we need to be able to, put our hips into leg locks to actually finish the leg lock. So if you're not able to do that because somebody's just wrenching on your lapel,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, keeping you close, it's going to be pretty hard. I'd be fine with doing leg locks, all leg locks in the gi, but I also understand why people wouldn't want to because a lot of people do have jobs, like myself. I mean, we work and you don't want to get hurt and stuff. But then in retrospect, I learn leg locks. Tap. Let the ego go and accept that you're caught. You lose. You win some, you learn some. That's it.
Sure. That comes down to good coaching at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And I've been training leg locks since day one. Like, it's been about a little over 6 years now, or right at 6 years. And I haven't hurt any of my teammates, any of my training partners. And I've been doing heel hooks since day one at white belt.
Yeah.
That
goes along with something Riley Bodycomb was telling me. He was saying that he teaches all his students everything since day one, leg locks, heel hooks. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I hope that's what he said. But his point was nonetheless that when you learn leg locks, you get a better understanding. And not only do you get a better understanding offensively, but you get a better understanding defensively. and your limbs get more flexible because people are practicing these techniques on you. So your flexibility to defend those things increases as well. So now you have awareness offensively, awareness defensively, and flexibility all around if you train it since day one, right?
Yeah, I agree with that because I know for instance, like we have drills and stuff that we do for the straight ankle that I do, and usually a lot of people that first get into it or they do private lessons for leg locks. The first thing that happens is they're like, oh man, the back of my calf is sore or the back of my leg is sore,
Yeah.
because they're not used to like that, cranking on it. I mean, I'm not saying crank on it full throttle, you get a pop. I'm saying like because what we do is I make our guys, we take it to the threshold slowly, slow and steady pressure, then we tap, but then that way you get conditioned for it and you actually feel what a real leg lock's like, and you're not tapping too soon. It might just have been pressure that you felt, but it's not something that would have hurt you, in competition, because more so for competition than anything.
For sure, man. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's so much drama surrounding leg locks, but like, it's just like this age-old negative take on it from back in the old gi days. That stigma has been sticking with people for so long, but I feel like now it's gone. And one thing I'd like to point out is like the ebb and flow of jiu-jitsu. Like there's a rise, not a rise and fall, but a rise of things. And then people catch up. A few years ago was the Berimbolo that got really popular, and then everybody caught up, and now people don't do it as much. And then next was the 50-50, and it got really popular. Then everybody caught on. Then nobody does it as much. Do you feel like leg locks are on that same route?
Yeah, I'd definitely say that. I mean, they've been there for a while. Just a lot of people don't have respect for them, and it's more so comes to people not understanding them. Yes. And that, I mean, I'd run from something I didn't understand too. But you can't have that mentality, especially in jiu-jitsu. We all want jiu-jitsu to grow. We all want the scene to get better, and you got to keep an open mind towards it.
Yeah. Well, my point was I wanted to know what you think about. I feel like now leg locks are getting a lot more respect because a lot more people are winning using them and finishing guys that are higher ranks than them in competition. And it's kind of like showing this big gap in people's games, this big hole in somebody's game. Do you feel like this is a good push to allow everybody to start respecting it and making it a staple in their game? But later on, do you think that will even everybody out and there will be less heel hook finishes, less leg lock finishes in the future?
I think that it's going to honestly just force this evolution in jiu-jitsu. I mean, because you have to know how to defend it or you're just running. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
You're just running from the leg locks if you don't know how to play it. You got to know, become aware of what they're doing, defend it. Then you can start, then you pass the guard. Then then you're not worried about the legs. But I feel like it's gonna evolve jiu-jitsu, as a whole, in the competition scene and everything like that. So I think that it's gonna be a good push for jiu-jitsu in general.
Nice, man. So speaking of evolution and the future, what are your plans from here on out? Like, do you have any like major goals that you want within the next 5 or 10 years?
So yeah, I do. I have some MMA goals. I have some gi goals.
Cool.
I just started. The only reason I was just doing no gi competitions is because it was what was like what I was winning. I didn't train a lot of gi at first. Then we started training gi, but then the opportunities for no gi tournaments came up more than gi. Okay. Because obviously spending money on tournaments and flights and entry fees, that's an issue for a lot of competitors. Yeah. And I mean especially when you got kids like myself and it's going out of pocket. But yeah, I have goals in the gi. I want to compete. IBJJF. I'm not gonna knock IBJJF. I want to challenge myself, and if those IBJJF players are winning, I want to see what I can do with them. Yeah. I want to have an overall game submission gi. And also in MMA, that's gonna be my next little journey. The gi is gonna so it's gonna be I have gi goals and I got MMA goals.
Dope, man. Hell yeah.
And obviously I got the academies running right now. So hopefully the stars align at the good time, at the perfect time, and stuff pops off. Dope. But
Hell yeah.
It's gonna be cool.
Do you have ADCC goals?
Yeah, I want to do ADCC trials, but I mean, I'm short on vacation now because of the EBI trip and other trips.
Yeah.
Damn, those
You know,
vacation days.
yeah. But so I mean, if I do ADCC the end of this year, it's gonna be a short notice. I'm gonna probably do a day of because I'll probably have to drive up Friday night, to New Jersey.
Yeah,
So,
true.
but I'm honestly, I'll probably will do it.
Yeah,
I'm
there
just
you-
not gonna say that I'm going to do it because
yeah.
I mean, my kids, it's the weather's, they might get sick, and
True.
Yeah,
there's just a
yeah.
lot of different variables.
Sure.
How many kids do you have, Josh?
I have two, a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they both actually train at my academy.
There you
Nice.
go.
It's awesome.
Nice, man. So how was training like when they were born? Because my wife is she's pregnant. I don't
See him
really know.
hesitate as he says that.
I'm like, how do I go about this? My wife's pregnant. I'm thinking like, man, how is training gonna go? So how did you deal with it with like the newborn babies?
Well, newborn, it was kind of rough at first.
Okay.
I mean, newborn's not. That's you got to be there. Just waking up. You got to hold the.
So I
bottle,
can't be selfish.
Yeah, but
No, I get you.
I know. But like my kids, like they were in their car seat while I was training on the mats.
Because that's what I was
they-
thinking.
Yeah, they were in the walker while they were on the mats.
There
you know
you
what I mean?
go.
So everybody at the gyms, that know me, they have seen my kids since I started jiu-jitsu.
Nice,
So.
man.
Nice.
Dope.
I wanted to touch on MMA.
Yeah, me too.
What is your MMA background? What other martial arts are you training or have you been training?
I didn't train anything prior to jiu-jitsu, but I didn't even know I was doing jiu-jitsu at first.
Okay.
It was a lot of MMA training.
Okay.
We had a bunch of guys in the gym that were training for MMA. So I was doing submission grappling, but then all of a sudden we brought the gi in and then we started getting belted and I'm like, oh, jiu-jitsu is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been training a little Muay Thai, a little boxing
There you go.
and wrestling. I mean, I've been doing it all. So,
Mhm.
Nice.
of course, I'm always putting a big emphasis on my jiu-jitsu. My jiu-jitsu is more, I'd say, more of an MMA style jiu-jitsu. I'm a big
Okay.
Damian Maia fan.
There you go.
Yeah, so and then I'd like to take people down and punish them, not just leg lock them. You know what I mean? It'd be fun. It'd be a fun little journey.
Yeah.
But I haven't trained much. I train it at my academy,
Okay.
and I take my classes and stuff with our students.
Awesome.
Nice,
man.
man. What are your thoughts on UFC 205,
Oh,
man?
Madison Square Garden.
That is gonna be a barn burner.
Oh my god.
Honestly, I haven't looked much into it.
Oh.
What the?
But because I've been so busy with the academy, I
Got
work.
it.
Ah,
Do you
no,
know who's
no
fighting?
judgment. No
Do you even know who's
judgment.
fighting?
No, who's fighting?
You seriously don't know?
Is
Nah.
is that who? Yeah,
We'll
I
go.
don't know.
We'll go down the card. Let us know your thoughts. Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor.
Okay.
All right, we got Tyrone Woodley versus
Tyron.
Oh, Tyron. He's gonna kick my ass
Yeah.
if he listens to this. Against Wonder Boy Thompson. That's Abe's boy.
That's my boy.
JJ versus how do you pronounce the name? Because I'm not gonna mess that up. You got that, Abe.
Christina. You could just say.
There you
Or
go.
Carolina, sorry.
Carolina. Chris Weidman versus Yoel Romero.
Yoel.
Oh, that's
Don't-
gonna be a fight.
Yeah, man.
What do you think of Yoel
Speak-
Romero?
Oh man, that dude's a freak of nature.
He's a monster.
Yeah, that's raw power at
Yeah.
its finest.
Now,
man.
what would you do in a grappling match against Yoel Romero? Go.
Honestly, I'd have a grappling match. I
Yeah.
would definitely have to try to leg lock him. I wouldn't wrestle him.
What do you
You
think
know.
is going to be the biggest issue when facing
His-
if you ever fought
His
Yoel?
traps.
Because he's an Olympic wrestler.
Yeah, man. It's a
That's-
big
Yeah, definitely elevating his hips and getting underneath him. I definitely would like to do that. That'd be cool.
There you go.
Yeah. Yoel, man.
I mean,
He's-
definitely up for the challenge.
That's gonna be a fun fight, man. You got Donald Cerrone against Kelvin Gastelum.
Ooh.
This
Yeah.
card is stacked, man.
You just got to go
Yeah, that
check it out,
is-
man. It's a good
that
card.
is-
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man.
Yeah, I don't have any favorite fighters. I'm just a fan of all the martial arts.
Okay,
I
yeah.
definitely, I like to see jiu-jitsu in there, but I'm definitely a fan of MMA just in general because, it gives opportunity for the wrestlers, gives opportunity
True.
for the judo, boxing, and jiu-jitsu. I think it's awesome. So,
Absolutely, man.
For sure, man.
I'm with you.
On that note, man, thank you so much for coming on. We don't want to take up too much of your time. Plus, we got to go train. But we really appreciate you coming on. This was a fun talk.
Yeah, man.
I felt like I learned a lot, and I hope the listeners did as well.
my brother, I appreciate you having me. So,
For sure,
Yeah,
man. And we
man.
got to get you over here one day and get some training in.
yeah, for sure. We'll make that happen.
Definitely,
No doubt.
Definitely, man. Before we head out, do you wanna plug anything in? Like if anyone wants to reach, or if anyone's around the area and wants to go over there, or even your leg lock system, shout it out.
Gotcha. Well, you could check out my leg lock system at joshhayden8020.com. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all social media at iJoshHayden. And if you're ever in Kentucky or Tampa, just look up our academies or just message me on Facebook, and we'll get you set up. Just come in. We're all down to train always.
Yes.
Thank you so much, man, and we will talk to you soon.
All right, brother. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Hey, take care, brother.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. And as always, if you like this episode and all our episodes, please give us a good rating on iTunes, subscribe to us on iTunes, download us everywhere that you can. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Anything that you can.
Way.
Goes a super long way. Also, subscribe to our newsletter. It's free. We don't bombard you with crazy emails, and
We're not about that spam life.
we're not about that.
So we won't
spam
do
life.
that to you.
So please subscribe to the newsletter. We just give monthly updates on what we're doing, our new products, our new podcasts. Also, we do giveaways and contests. This is the first month that we started it, and actually, in the beginning of each month, we started a new contest. And if just by being a subscriber, you are entered to get some free gear each month. One person a month will be getting something free from us. So please subscribe, and we really appreciate you guys. Also, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you want, you can find us.